What if one man's humble ride on a donkey sparked a revolution that changed the world? Join us as we uncover the drama, the prophecy, and the heartbreak of Jesus' triumphal entry into Jerusalem, the moment that shook a city and set the stage for the ultimate sacrifice. Hit that play button to experience Palm Sunday like never before. As Jesus and his disciples approached Jerusalem, nearing the villages of Bethphage and Bethany on the Mount of Olives, he paused. The air was warm, tinged with the scent of olive trees and dust from the rocky paths. Jesus turned to two of his disciples, likely Peter and John, though the Gospels do not name them, and gave them specific instructions. He told them to go into the village ahead, where they would find a donkey tied, along with her colt, which no one had ever ridden. "Untie them and bring them to me," Jesus said, his voice calm but authoritative. "If anyone asks what you're doing, say, 'The Lord needs them,' and they will let you go." The disciples nodded, trusting their teacher, though perhaps puzzled by the unusual request. This act fulfilled the prophecy of Zechariah. "See, your king comes to you, gentle and riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey." Zechariah 9:9. Peter and John hurried into the village, their sandals kicking up dust as they scanned for the animals Jesus described. Near a modest stone house, they spotted a donkey and her young colt tethered to a wooden post. As they began to untie them, the owner, a middle-aged man with a weathered face, approached, eyeing them suspiciously. "Why are you untying my animals?" he demanded. Peter, ever bold, replied, "The Lord needs them." The man's expression softened, perhaps recognizing the weight of the words, or moved by a sense of divine prompting. He nodded and stepped back, allowing the disciples to lead the donkey and colt away. The animals were gentle, the colt slightly skittish but compliant, as if sensing the significance of their role. Back on the Mount of Olives, the disciples returned with the donkey and colt. They spread their cloak's roof, woven garments, in earthy tones over the colt's back to create a makeshift saddle, a gesture of honor for their teacher. The other disciples, sensing the gravity of the moment, began to gather nearby, their faces a mix of anticipation and awe. Jesus approached the colt, his presence calming the young animal. With quiet dignity, he mounted it, sitting upright as the disciples steadied the animal. The act was humble yet regal, a king riding not a war horse but a beast of peace, fulfilling the prophecy of a gentle Messiah. As Jesus rode toward Jerusalem, word spread quickly among the crowds gathered for the Passover festival. People from Galilee, Judea, and beyond, pilgrims, locals, and curious onlookers began to line the road. They recognized Jesus as the miracle worker, the teacher who healed the sick and spoke with authority. Shouts of, "Hosanna! Save us!" erupted, echoing through the hills. Many cut branches from palm trees and spread them on the road, a traditional gesture of honor for a king. Others laid down their cloaks, creating a colorful path. The crowd's energy was electric, their voices rising in praise. "Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the King of Israel." Children ran alongside, waving palm branches, their laughter mingling with the chants. Yet amid the jubilation, Jesus' expression remained somber, knowing the city's rejection loomed. As the procession neared the city, the crowd's shouts grew louder, but Jesus' heart grew heavy. From a vantage point on the descent, he gazed at Jerusalem, its walls and temple radiant under the midday sun. Tears welled in his eyes, not from joy but from grief. He spoke, his voice breaking. "If you, even you, had only known on this day what would bring you peace, but now it is hidden from your eyes." He foresaw the city's destruction, the Roman siege that would come decades later, and the people's rejection of his message. The disciples nearby exchanged glances, unsure how to respond, while the crowd's chants continued, oblivious to his sorrow. This moment revealed the depth of Jesus' love for his people and his anguish over their spiritual blindness. The procession reached Jerusalem's eastern gate, and the crowd's fervor peaked. People surged forward, some climbing onto rooftops to catch a glimpse of Jesus. The whole city was stirred, with newcomers asking, "Who is this?" The Galileans in the crowd replied, "This is Jesus, the prophet from Nazareth." The excitement was contagious, but not all were pleased. A group of Pharisees, dressed in fine robes, pushed through the crowd, their faces stern. They approached Jesus, saying, "Teacher, rebuke your disciples." They feared the crowd's zeal could provoke Roman intervention or challenge their authority. Jesus replied, "I tell you, if they keep quiet, the stones will cry out." His words silenced them, but their resentment deepened. The moment marked a turning point, foreshadowing the conflict that would lead to his crucifixion. As evening fell, Jesus dismounted and entered the temple courts, observing the activity but not yet cleansing it. The crowd began to disperse, still buzzing with excitement, unaware that this triumphant entry marked the beginning of Jesus' final week. He and his disciples withdrew to Bethany for the night, preparing for the momentous events ahead: Passover, betrayal, and the cross. The triumphal entry was both a moment of glory and a prelude to sacrifice, revealing Jesus as the humble king who came to save through love, not conquest.